I'm Seamless, and I'm going to show you today how to make a Big Bang in FL Studio with ZGE, because why not? I have a render to show you because I can't show it to you in real time. Here it is. Yeah. So this fun kind of glare effect is not just bloom, there's also that streaky stuff, and it looks like it could just be some frame blur, right? But look at it move like that in real time. Like it's actually shadowing and carrying about 3D space. It's not, because there isn't any, other than the particle stuff, but there's a lot of neat little trick happening there. There's also galaxies. See them going on? That is, of course, there are individual particles. The galaxies themselves are not, well, they are actually groups of particles, is sort of the point, is that you can, in using the particle system, set the particles to be an individual image. And what that means inside ZGE is that it's a source. You could put an input source, and that could be an image, a video, an NDI source, an entire other preset, and also a live just internal buffer. In this case, I've chosen those buffers to be other particle systems. So here's the real thing, and here's it going. And now we're back into like 10 FPS or whatever, but yeah. So these galaxies that you can see showing up. Let's see. Go and get there. Damn it. Cool. Wow. Oh no, quick. Boop. Wow, doing this and recording is difficult. Okay. So yeah, that right there is a whole particle system that's being injected and then multiplied in within the particle system in here. There's also just normal individual particles being there. But in here, here's how that works. Actually, let's just boop. All right. Don't freeze you later. Okay. Be big enough. All right. Where's my intro? Okay, so every one of those galaxies is these dudes. So you can see them down here. And what they are is just a particle system that I shrunk to fit within one frame. And they look vaguely galaxy-like. And they're just clusters and didn't really try that difficult. Like, they're not animating. They're animating in terms of there's dance-based movement, but I have not animated anything else about them. And here in the bloom is on each of them too, just to give them a kind of individual sort of galaxy glow. And there's 3 of those individually. And then here's 3 other particles plus 1 that's not doing the thing. So here is what the source is. So what you do is you come in here and then it's side chain linking the same way you would as in a mixer insert. And in here are the side chains. Can I rename these? I've never actually tried. I can. It's not its own buffer, so that not going to do anything. I have to rename one, like you. Doot 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 doot. Nope. Interesting. Layer P. Dr. P. Anyway, point is that's the list of stuff where you find a list of stuff, and it corresponds to the name of the freaking number, which the name of the freaking number, sure, the name of the source, which like kind of means you probably shouldn't rename them now that I think about it, but either way, that's how you get them to do what their deal is. And essentially the way you engage them is you turn on this to buffer mode, and if I turn on this, it kind of destroys everything, but it's because this is essentially how it determines what is an insert in the video sense, in the video pathway, because this is part of an insert, this is the next thing in the list, and then now this is the insert. And the coloration is just a pretty good indicator of how that's working out. Did I break everything? Nope. Cool. So, yeah. First step is to make these particles, which you would think that'd be really difficult, like processing-wise, but that's really not the hardest thing this is doing. Like, and I am only getting this information based on, like, it wasn't struggling when I had only them, and everything else was what made it hard. So, then after that, we have this tunnel effect. Now, this is real fun, and let's see if I can actually do this correct. So let's see, that's J. Let's look at doing this. Video from buffer. So I shouldn't see anything right now. Boop. Cool. Yeah, so that's what that is. This is what the shot we're getting out of. We're getting out of that. And this sort of tunneled effect is what the thing does, but it does it in a very interesting way. It does it by essentially repeating the frame at you with varying alpha, like a lot. That's what it's doing. So like that's the background image there, and like it's just coming at you, and like it looks weird because the processing is being used for stuff and masks and whatnot. But like the end result is those streaks, those sort of long lines, because they add up together when they stack like that. So I have pre-alpha mode on, which isn't by default. This looks like anime lines. Wow. Well, if I ever want to know how to make anime lines, damn. Man, this is exactly what it was like when I first started doing how to base tutorials, where like every second I just did a thing once or twice and I was like, oh, hey, cool, that looks, oh, now I know how to this. Neat. Man, that really looks like a deep field, doesn't it? Anyway, minimum size, maximum size. Minimum size is why it's so tiny you can't really see it, because if I make it bigger, it actually, you can see like the main picture. It gets kind of weird though. Like you see how it kind of shrank when I moved the speed knob just then. And it's because the image that this thing is copying over and over again to come at you like this is actually coming at you and will eventually hit you. And then it'll restart, like if you actually hit there long enough to do it, like it is like when we do like this. But yeah, so this is actually more like what it looks like when you frame blur. You can see these kinds of streaky edges or whatever, but this like solid singular line experience was and the fact that it's like kind of just jittery business is sort of was making the sort of realistic light feel that way. Yeah, quote unquote realistic. It's actually not even just because this is nothing about this is realistic, but like I have layers of things in wrong places if I wanted to care about that. Turning off the buffer. Yeah, so like for example, this is what that's looking like because when it moves, it looks all jittery in this mode, but when you saw the render, actually let's just look at the render to talk about that. Bam. Boop. So yeah, so that's part of it. This tricky stuff happening out there. This is the bloom effect, the roundedness in there. That's just a post thing, another kind of lighting. But this changey deal, so like I have the displacement happening after this streaky business is happening, and I really should have done it the other way around. I should have had the streaks come in after the displacement, because the light coming in at us like this is essentially a lens effect, which means that it's not going to be affected by distortions like that. It still looks cool. It's a neat effect, but like it like doesn't make sense too much. But what's neat is you can see like when an object gets kind of close that like it's sort of the how you know this is how you know it's not a 3D thing, because like the light kind of stops when that galaxy comes through, because that's the thing that's blurring. That's the element in the image that's coming at us at that speed, and when it comes off the screen, it's done coming at you. It's done being there, which is not even a little bit realistic in terms of any kind of behavior by any of this. And the only reason why that doesn't matter is because there's just so much to look at that you don't care. And a little bit, like I was mentioning the relationship to my sound designing in the other video, and that's exactly kind of how I approach stuff. I really like making individual, like concisely sustained things that are by themselves complicated enough that the sustain is not boring. Like respaces and stuff are like that. Like they just have so much here. There's so much going on that like you can just listen to the same thing over and over again because you didn't get it all the first time, and you're basically getting replay value in real time. And like people have just been staring at the stars and stuff forever. They'll never not be fun to look at them. And other than the fact that they're the stars, what they mean and whatnot, it's also just a density of visual. You know what I mean? It's like the visual equivalent of what neurobase is. It's very loud. It's very dense. It's very heavy. And so like the goal for doing anything like this, if I'm doing it, is to try and get that incredible density across. And so that's why the Particles of the Galaxy plan to do. Which of course in also traditional seamless fashion is incredible overkill that like absolutely did need to be the deal. So couldn't even tell any of them are moving, and they are. I either need to make them move more or do something like, or not, or just make them be static images. They don't have to be live things. I could have just taken a screenshot of like 50 different ones of these and then done that. And in fact, I probably will. Or even found actual images of actual galaxies and used them. Like there's nothing stopping me from doing that other than my, as usual, desire to do everything from scratch. I don't know what it is about me that's like that, but it is. And that's pretty much the only reason I haven't done that. But like actual sound design professional work is mostly like really smart acquisition and application of sampled stuff, and not so much what is it that you can do on your own. Because who's going to be like suddenly like, quick, you're trapped in the room with, I almost said Bruce Nolan, with Christopher Nolan, and you want, like, you have to finish a score with a laptop and 2 phones. What do you do? Like, yeah, that's not gonna be your life. But like, if you're gonna be in that position, you'll have basically everything at your disposal, so like, you want to act like you do. And similarly, when you're doing visual effects, it's just the same thing. It's all the same stuff, just built up. There's visual packs. There's space stuff packs. If you're even remotely interested in VFX, you've seen ads for them. And that's like, so you know what I'm talking about. Just do that. All right. Like, you don't need to go this hard. But on the other hand, this does lead to some dope possibilities, does it? Doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, the buffer system in here is how most of this is possible. And the reason why I'm talking up so much, like, how to simplify this, is because you really want to be as simple as possible. So, like, right now, with the way that the Z Game Editor is, which honestly probably doesn't even involve doing this fully in the Z Game Editor. It involves doing the small bits and adding up the big bits, and then something else completely, like ImageLine themselves recommend. But if you do feel like doing it, here's this is. But I have so many other plans. You probably saw renders, the render in there for wanting to do a sun. And I did figure out some pretty neat stuff with that. Like, I'm all in on this visual stuff all of a sudden, and that's fine. I need that direction. Anyway, I'll put up this little FLP to be usable. If you wish, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that fun stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.